right. Thank you for joining us on the brand new RP Experience podcast. This is our first stab at a podcast, and we're beyond thrilled to bring you all together to collaborate on this journey. We want to welcome one of our preferred partners, Steve Calabrese, and one of our top agents, Jack Mancini with Keller Williams. So,
thank you.
All right, Steve. Well, welcome. You're obviously preferred partner here with Real Producers, and we appreciate your support. And we want to invite you on the podcast here, and you obviously brought Jack. So we're excited to have you both. Now, Steve, tell me a little bit about yourself. Born and raised up in Ohio. Now you're down in Florida. How'd you get down here?
Thanks for having me, Andrew. Everyone's got a weird story how they came down here. Now, if you're a loan officer, then you definitely got a weird story because no one has a normal story of how you get into mortgages. So I was going to Ohio State for a couple years, and I got licensed to be a loan officer. And 2 weeks later, I'm like, Dad, this Ohio thing, man, it's just not going to fly. Ohio, mortgages, like, it's just the boring. I'm not going to do it. So I moved to a condo in Venice, and I commuted to FGCU.
Okay.
And after a few months, I'm like, I got friends. I don't have to live in Venice anymore. So I moved in with the spearfishing club at FGCU, and it was game over. I'm like, these guys are insane. They go to the bottom of the ocean and shoot fish. Like, I thought spearfishing was chucking a spear at a fish like a caveman, and there's this whole sport. So I was just closing a few loans like every few months. Just enough to get by, and I'd go out and spearfish with these guys. So
that's awesome.
Game over. Florida man on.
Yeah, you're pretty much the definition of Florida man. You have a story that people follow, or like an Instagram, a profile that everyone just follows. So it's been impressive. So tell me a little bit more about your company and a little bit more about mortgage.
So Equitable, we're a small family-owned mortgage company. We're a mom and pop shop. We're from Columbus, Ohio. My dad started Equitable 30-some years ago, and dude, he closes loans himself. He's a CEO, and he closed $9 million of loans by himself. Like, doesn't have an assistant or anyone in December of last year, which everyone is closing insane amount of loans. Mm-hmm. So it's just that Midwest work ethic, do what you're supposed to do, close loans, close on time, make everyone happy.
Without further ado, let's introduce one of our top producing agents here in Southwest Florida, Jack Mancini. He's with Keller Williams, and you're a Florida native. So let's talk a little bit about yourself. How you're still down here. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was born here, I'd probably leave for a little bit and come back. But just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Andrew, and Steve. Thanks for inviting me. About Jack, Florida native. Born on the East Coast, lived in Jacksonville, Clearwater, went to school at Florida State, met my wife there. We moved back to Clearwater, and then an opportunity in the mortgage business came up in Fort Myers working for U.S. Home Mortgage at the time. So, yeah, Florida native, don't know much different. Lived in Pennsylvania for a few years. It was really cold. And then worked our way back to Florida, and no reason to go anywhere. It's sun, beach, boat, golf.
It's everything you'd want.
Hunting, yeah,
exactly.
No reason to leave.
So how'd you go from mortgage to real estate?
Well, I was working for U.S. Home Mortgage. They sold a lot of new construction, and they still do, of course. It's Lennar now, but U.S. Home and Lennar were sister companies joined into Lennar. And I'd show up to my office on Monday, and there would be 30-plus contracts on the desk from homes that the builder sold over the weekend. So I was spoon-fed the buyer, the mortgage leads, but I saw how much fun the realtors were having, selling houses, and I'm getting paid peanuts compared to the commission that they were earning selling real estate. So I had enough of that, and I'm kind of ADHD, so being behind a desk didn't really work for me.
I think all three of us are.
I found my way out.
I don't know how we're all sitting here on this podcast.
I know. Got my real estate license in 2004. It's been 17 years. I went through the 2008 crash and I was captain short sale during that time. And now here we are, 2021, market's stronger than ever.
Obviously, getting in real estate, you started off on your own and now you got a team. So can you get us a little update on that?
My wife does all the paperwork because I'm not gifted at that. I have 2 buyer's agents, Shannon Schaefer. She's been in the business about 18 months. She is killing it. And another buyer's agent, Tyler Mattingly, he's doing phenomenal as well. So I have the 2 best agents on the team, in my opinion, and it's seamless.
All right, so Real Producers is all about bringing everyone together, right? And what's great about this platform is that you guys are 2 industries that are probably the top individuals that need one another to be able to get your job done. So can we talk a little bit about that? First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room, this market, what's going on with it? How is it affecting you guys? And then we're going to dive in a little bit more into details and what you guys think might happen and go from there. So what's your take, Steve? Give us a quick 30 seconds on what you think this market's going to do, how it is right now, and what's to be expected.
30 seconds ain't gonna happen. It's a hot market, sure. It's super hot because everyone wants to live in Florida. Who doesn't want to live to Florida?
Pun intended.
Exactly. So it's a hot market, but there's hotter markets in this country. I mean, we're based out of Columbus, Ohio. You got to put 7, 8 offers in maybe down here. Mm-hmm. Big one. These guys are putting in 30, 40 offers on every single home. It's insane.
It's insane.
It's hot down here, but it could be a lot worse, in my opinion.
What do you think is going to happen in the next 6 months?
There's no indications of a crash. There's none. There's not one. But it'll stabilize.
Gotcha.
We'll see some stability, which will be nice.
We definitely are not going to talk about stability and cryptocurrency with you, but Jack,
so trash.
See, I knew he's going to throw something in there. So, Jack, give us obviously you dealt with the '08 crash.
Yep.
Obviously you witnessed the indications leading up to that. So, do you find this market to have those indications?
No, not at all. The subprime loans, the no income verification loans, the stated income loans, they're not going to do that anymore. You have to qualify to pay back the lender, which should have been the case all along. But you have to have more than a good credit score and a heartbeat to borrow money now.
You're right.
So I don't see that happening. There's no way that inventory is going to outweigh demand within the next 3 to 5 years, in my opinion.
For sure.
They can't build them fast enough. The problem for buyers is that the sellers that would be interested in selling now have nothing to go buy. So there's very limited inventory. And we didn't even see the European and Canadian influx this past season because of how locked down those countries are. If they open that up, it's going to be more explosive than it already is.
For sure. So you're 6 months to a year, maybe stabilize. You agreeing with Steve a little bit, or you think it might even go up a little bit?
Until the builders start selling again, like Lennar and Pulte shut down their sales because of the shortage of supplies, plywood, etc. Until they open up sales again, the resale market is going to continue to be very low inventory.
All right, Jack, obviously, you're not going to be able to sell homes or I guess a buyer come and be able to purchase a home unless they have cash or financing. So let's talk a little bit how that's being impacted with the market today and utilizing Steve here with his expertise. So what do you guys deal with on the struggles for day to day with financing and closing and stuff?
Well, you have to have someone that you have 100% confidence in referring, and I have that with Steve. When you refer a general contractor, a mortgage person, a painter, in the real estate business, it's a reflection of yourself. So if your lender or your painter do a poor job, the client that you referred to them takes it out on you or blames you for it. So you have to have a trusted mortgage person. I found that with Steve, cut through the BS. Let's just either qualify or you don't. What Steve's able to provide is better than just a pre-approval letter, which you can get on the phone. He's verifying income, assets, and credit before he's issuing a pre-approval letter. So when you go and make an offer on a property with someone that needs financing, it's almost like cash when you're working with Steve.
Awesome. Now, Steve, obviously you get people calling you weekends, maybe even when you're out fishing and whatnot, to get pre-approvals. When Jack brings you someone that, needs a pre-approval, can you walk us through that process as well as the relationship with Jack?
My favorite part about being a lender versus an agent is I'm not showing houses on weekends, but I have to be available. So if someone needs pre-approved on a Saturday at 7 o'clock, you get it done. It's not pretty, sure. You do it from your phone or whatever you have to do, but you get it done and you're still available to go out and show houses. And that's the big upside being a lender that versus an agent, in my opinion. But the upside, you still have to be available for when people need pre-approved immediately. As far as being pre-approved goes in this market, putting an offer in, yeah, you have to put maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 offers in. But there's ways to get your offer accepted on offer 2 or 3. Like, it's just numbers. It's about numbers. If you are pre-underwritten versus pre-approved, if you've actually been through the underwriting process, if you have an appraisal waiver, if you can close in 21 days, if you have those 3 things on your pre-approval letter or your approval letter, they're going to accept your offer versus Joe Schmo with an FHA 3.5% down. I mean, there's ways in this market to get your offer accepted if you are financing.
Jack, let's talk for a second here on the current market in which you're seeing with the cash versus obviously financing. I mean, you were kind of talking with me a little bit about just a recent home that you put up and how much traction it was getting. So can you touch on that?
Sure, and I'm a member of a lot of Facebook real estate Facebook groups, and they'll put out there anybody noticing the market slow down, and there are some buyers that are a little tired of getting beat, but anybody that needs a home is still at getting after it, making offers, sight unseen. I was on the phone with the Bonita Board of Realtors yesterday, getting some data from them to share this morning. And the average days on market in Lee County is 6. The average days on market in Collier County is 7. There are about 3,200 active listings in Southwest Florida right now. There's typically over 11,000 right now. So we're down, our inventory is down 75%. I did list a property on Sunday about 5 p.m., woke up Monday morning, and there were 20 scheduled showings on that property. So we had 5 offers by the end of the night.
And that's not like some crazy deal, right? That was just a normal home. Like it was,
listed at $525, original roof, 2-year-old AC, all the bedrooms are up, none down. So a lot of people want at least one guest bedroom down for their relatives or older, visitors. But
so not a hidden gem that everyone's trying to jump on. This is just
a little like 0 lot line right on top, just stacked up. And we had 5 offers. All were list price or better. 4 of them were financing, and 1 was cash, $30,000 over list price.
All right. So obviously, I've witnessed it personally with people that I've dealt with in different industries, that they are out in the field and they are the newest licensed realtor. So with that being said, not only the newbies that just got their license, but also people that have been growing over the past year, 2 years, 5 years, and steadily making improvements. What kind of tips and tricks do you recommend to these individuals?
Well, as a new agent, I wish you the best of luck, because I don't know how a seller would, hire a brand new agent over an agent that's been in the business 5, 10, 15 years. So, hey, it's easy. Look how easy it is to sell real estate right now, right? Mm-hmm. Well, there's so many agents, very few homes for sale. There might be as many realtors in Southwest Florida as there are active listings. It's crazy.
There's 18,000 realtors.
And there's 3,000 homes for sale. So yeah, exactly. You have no chance. As a new agent, I don't see this being the market that you want to change your career and get into being a real estate agent.
What about the individuals, that have been growing for the past 3, 4, 5 years? You've been in the industry for 17 years.
Real estate, yeah.
So 17, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
We'll round up here. And what's some advice that you give to them that have been just grinding, trying to make a couple extra dollars for themselves or their family?
Focus on your sphere of influence. Don't lose track of your past clients. Most past clients would hire the realtor that sold them the house if they could remember their name. So most agents sell the house and they're gone. They forget about the client's anniversary date that they bought the house, a little card, a little phone call. Hey, that you bought your house a year ago. Get their birthdays, get their anniversaries, wedding anniversaries, call them, keep in touch with your past clients. And for agents that are just, struggling 1 year, 2 years in the business, join a team, see if you can get on a top producing agent's team to get mentored by them, to leverage their listings, to find you buyers, sit open houses. It's tough right now.
It's a struggle, obviously, in all kinds of different industries. And with that being said, Steve, let's talk about you, and let's chat on an individual that wants to try to, I guess, take a piece of the pie, and that's gotten their mortgage, their LO, would it be a LO license? Let's talk about a brand new LO. Do you have any tips for them, tricks? They're sitting there begging realtors. They're calling realtors, right? So, what would you do if you were a brand new LO at this time?
So I'm about 2.5 years in. I dropped out of FGC February of 19. So I'm right at 2.5 years. But the nice thing about lending is you have two sources of income. I mean, you have your purchases, and then you have refinances. And I mean, you close a $300,000 loan. Someone buys a $500,000 house and they get a $300,000 loan. You get paid the same amount of money for a purchase versus someone refinancing. So they buy at a 5% interest rate, and then 2 years later, rates drop like they just did, and you refinance and you get paid again.
Bingo.
If you are in touch with your database, with your people. That's the biggest thing. No one stays in touch with anyone. They do the deal and then they never come again, which is just insane.
So what you're both saying is relationships are pretty important.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's key to
Like
every
Steve.
success. Every business right
kill
there,
fish
right?
and hunt together.
There you go. So what about the individuals that are actually in your time frame? Have been in it for about 2 years, 3 years, right around the same time frame as you, but they're just not getting the traction. You've been known on social media for being very, truthful, very honest with everything you believe. And some people would say maybe that would impact your business in a positive way. Someone would say it would negatively impact your business. Can you touch on that? Why you kind of do it? I love it. I think a lot of people love it, but obviously there's going to be some people that might not love how outspoken you are and say that you need to be very, very business oriented. So let's talk about that for a second.
If you're not consistently closing a few loans and you're a few years in to being a loan officer, right now when rates are literally at all-time lows, as of 4 days ago, the government just took away this refinance fee, which lowered rates more, which basically in the middle of the pandemic, the government slapped on a 0.5 hit on the refinances, which doesn't mean 0.5 interest rates are 0.5 higher, but on the back end of pricing, lenders would have to charge 50 more basis points. So your rate was translated an eighth of a point higher in rate. Well, the government just took that off Friday, the 16th. So rates dropped on Friday, and then the 10-year is falling flat on its face. Rates are we're at all-time lows again. So if you're not getting people, if you're not finding friends and family and people that have mortgages, if you're not getting referred by real estate agents of people that need to refinance because they bought 3 years ago at 5%,
right,
you're doing something wrong. If you're a loan officer, you're just not putting in the work. And that's what it comes down to nowadays. No one wants to put in the work. It's not that hard. I mean, you call people, you make relationships, as long as you're likable and everyone doesn't hate you and you're not like talking to a wall, then you're going to make money.
What was the rate on a 30-year fixed on yesterday, July 19th, 21?
We were sub 3. I'll probably get in trouble for saying this.
Yeah, 2 7/8.
But
yeah, it's crazy.
Sub 3, though, I locked one 30-year fixed rate mortgage conventional loan at 2.375%.
Holy.
So even cash buyers should be financing. Call Steve.
Right? That's unbelievably low.
Keep your money in the money market. You know,
But we're
in
in
the
the
twos.
market. You know,
We're in the 2s right now.
That's insane.
Yep.
So I would love to, I think the listeners actually would love this more, to hear your method behind social media. You know, you have gotten almost to this level of microphones and cameras and different things that you're doing. So why do you do it? And do you have a passion for it? Does it help your business? So let's touch on that.
So first of all, I'm 24 years old. I was the last person in high school to have a Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. I was the last person. I was the fat, weird kid with no friends that couldn't talk to a wall in high school. And we were graduating our, senior year in high school, and my buddy's like, Steve, you're making Instagram. I'm like, I don't want to. It's like, you're making one right now. And I had 0 followers. Everyone starts with 0. Joe Rogan had 0 followers. Elon Musk, everyone has 0 followers. Everyone starts with 0. And you just gotta start putting out content and document your day. The majority of my social media is just stories. I put stuff and people are like, "Oh wow, that's real." No, everyone was afraid to say that, Steve. Like, why you actually said that? Like, I'm just talking. I'm literally just talking. But the biggest thing that people don't understand is that social media, your brand, is just your reputation. Like, Jack, your reputation is you hunt and fish. You don't do it because you want people, like, you just do it because you want to do that. It's my reputation. That's your brand. And you just document your life with social media. And sure, you're going to have some people that hate you and want you to lose, but you're going to have a lot more people when you start talking about the truth, when you start talking about what your values are, you're going to have people that absolutely love you. And you're never going to get anyone on side just by being wishy-washy, lukewarm, and battling around the edges and just not talking about anything deep. And I've never understood that. It was just, I'm very black and white, but like it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, how do you think you're going to get a following if you don't talk about anything with meaning? You're not
Steve
going
is authentic. There's no doubt about that. He says what he thinks.
Yeah, which we love, you know, obviously. That's who you are, you know, and you shouldn't fake it. You know, you shouldn't be acting a certain way to please people. You know, people should like you and want to do business with you for who you are, right? Or not, exactly.
Take it or leave it.
And that's probably the same thing with you, Jack. Obviously, you're out fishing, you know. Now, you've been doing it for, 18 years, so, and you have a team, and you've built a big business around it and very impressive numbers. So, but people might say, and you've probably gotten this is, what are you doing for me as a client if you're out fishing all the time, you know? So how do you react to that? And, what's your feedback on that?
Well, I set their expectations up front that, if I'm not available because I'm out filling the freezer, I have my buyer's agents, Tyler and Shannon, that will be available for you. And when I go offshore, I call forward my calls to Tyler. I don't want anybody to, feel like they're not important. Mm-hmm. But my clients know what I do, what my passion is, and it's God family business, but real estate is most important. I have to, continue to, feed the family. I have been married for 21 years. We have 3 daughters. Caitlin's 13, Ansley is 16, Madeline will be 18 July 24th, headed to Florida State University, where my wife and I met. So it's a matter of just setting expectations. When I go on a listing appointment, I'll show up with frozen fish, clean, vacuum sealed, and delivered.
That's the trick, people, right there. That's how you become a top producer.
A couple lobsters,
red snapper. You give them. Oh,
yeah,
people are. I mean, I'm not gonna show it, but what he brought in here today, I'm ready to go cook it up right now. So, All right, guys. Well, let's change gears here a little bit. Let's talk about some what you do outside of work, and we kind of alluded to it a little bit here. You guys are both probably the most outdoorsy people that we'll have on the podcast. We'll see if we can get someone that maybe will beat you. But you guys both love to hunt and fish and spearfish, scuba dive, archery. I'm probably missing some different things there, but you're very outdoorsy. So first of all, Steve, is it from Ohio? I was from Wisconsin. I know, we were outdoorsy. From Ohio that you got that, or was it, the spearfishing club that kind of really sparked it, or why? Why aren't you a millennial sitting on your computer right now?
So I was the reactionary kid growing up. Like I didn't know God. I didn't have any values, but I just know I didn't like the world, like where it was going. I'm like, this is really screwed up. Like I'm just gonna go in my woods and shoot squirrels with a pellet gun.
Right.
So I taught myself to hunt and fish. My dad learned himself. Like he'd never shot a gun before, and we just started learning together. And when I don't know, when I was like 10 or 15 years old, and through high school and through college, it's like you can hunt deer in Ohio, and that's it. Like there's a couple squirrels, there's no rabbits. It is the most boring hunting state there is.
Got any coyotes out there?
Dude, it's just so overhunted. I mean, there's coyotes, but like no one has thermal scopes, and there's just nothing to hunt or do in Ohio other than football and drink, which is cool, but it's just not I'm not gonna live my life like this. Right. So I moved to Florida. And you got alligators and pythons and snakes and panthers that can kill you. There's just all these exotic creatures. And there's like wild boar running around everywhere. It's just a lot more fun to hunt. So I always wanted to come down here. I wanted to come down here and fish. And then I discovered diving and spearfishing. And it was game over after that.
Aren't you like shooting iguanas with a bow and stuff?
The best part, I forgot iguanas. We don't have as many iguanas. It's not like living in Fort Lauderdale or Miami or the East Coast, but oh my gosh, they're the funnest thing to shoot, and they taste amazing. Chicken in the tree, man.
Yeah?
Chicken in the tree.
Really?
Well,
have you shot iguana? Have you tasted iguana?
No, I've never.
I'll bring some iguana to a real producer's party. If there's a kitchen here, we'll like cook some iguana up.
All right.
Bacon wrap it and all.
No, I just, live vicariously through Steve on his Facebook page. It's like,
oh, it's
what
impressive.
the hell are you doing?
All right. So, Jack, how'd you get into the hunting, fishing? Was it family or just?
No, geez. I grew up as Country Club Jack playing golf like every day in Clearwater and Jacksonville. And I've always enjoyed fishing, catching fish. But it wasn't until 3 or 4 years ago, a friend of mine, Mike Monge, we were just friends on Facebook. I had sold him and his wife a house in Stony Brook like 15 years ago. And we were friends on Facebook, and I saw him with these giant fish. So I ran into Mike at an outdoor movie night I was putting on. I said, hey, Mike, if I get my, dive license, will you teach me how to spearfish? And he's like, sure. And he gets that, question once a month from somebody.
How often do you guys
Everybody
get it?
wants to be Mike, And I went and got dive certified. And when you get certified, you're certified to go down 60 feet. And went out with Mike and Wayne Kelly, an old timer, the grandfather, the godfather of spearfishing in Lee County. And my first dive was 107 feet, and I shot a red grouper. So, go big or go home. After you dive 107, 60's like nothing.
Right. If you guys didn't know, the Selfish Me actually invited these individuals on here so I could get them on air to say that they're going to bring me spearfishing, because that's what everyone does, right? Everyone sees what you guys do and say, hey, how can I come out spearfishing or whatnot? So if someone is an outdoorsy individual or has a aspiration to be outdoors and spearfish, hunt, and those kind of things, what are a couple first steps that you'd recommend? And also, what's the etiquette like for an individual like your guys yourselves that are veterans and people are like, hey, I want to learn, what do you expect from them at least before they might be able to come out with you?
So I think about this all the time, and people are like, oh, take me hunting, take me fishing, take me diving, take me spearfishing. If you want to go hunting, like, you just need to shoot a gun. Like, you go to the range, you learn to shoot. It's not that bad. But if you want to go spearfishing, like you have to learn how to breathe where you're going to be doing it at. So you can either free dive or scuba dive. I mostly free dive. The guys that I went with, that I go with, they threw me in the water and they're like, come back with a fish. Free diving. And then they started diving deeper, and that's when I got certified, and then it was history. But like, you don't just go spearfishing. You have to learn how to dive first. So if you want to take some free diving lessons or take some scuba diving lessons, get certified, and then you're just like, all right, here's a gun, shoot a fish.
Yeah, if you're serious enough to go through the training to get certified to scuba dive, I will take you out on my boat. And you're going to go down and you're going to follow me so I can show you. You don't just dive and shoot fish. You can't swim up to a fish and shoot it. It's going to swim away from you.
Right.
So there's a technique, there's an art to spearfishing. You don't want to smoke out the ledge because you kicked with your fins and put sand all around. But if you're serious enough and you go get certified, I will take you out spearfishing. And I know you're certified already. So let's go, Andrew. You're in.
Hey, I even have a spear gun already. So it's sitting there ready to go. I don't know what to do with it yet.
I'll show you.
All right. Last question here, and then we're going to wrap it up. If you guys had a podcast or yourself had a podcast, what would you name it?
Land and Sea.
I'm starting a podcast. I got the banner and everything called Upcurrent, because you're like going up current in life. You're going up current in everything. Like you're literally going up current. I just haven't shot my first episode.
All right.
Because I don't have Colby.
If we can figure it out, we'll add the tag and for both the podcasts that Jack and Steve are doing. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you both for coming on our podcast, the RP Experience. It's been an absolute pleasure. As always, Southwest Florida Real Producers is beyond fortunate to work with such amazing individuals like yourself and businesses. We can't wait to see our podcast obviously stream on air for everyone to listen. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on social media. So check it out. We'll have it. Everything will be tagged as SWFL Real Producers. Then that's REAL, not real like you guys and your fishing. So, anyways, just want to say a huge thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
And, we had
Thanks
a lot
for
of fun.
having us.
And Andrew's team, total professionals.
They are the top notch. So we're here at Venture X in the podcast studio, and we're all filmed by Cora Films. So appreciate everyone. We'll see you on the next episode.
Venture X.